In the heart of Delhi, nestled between the rush of urban life and centuries of history, something beautiful is happening. This isn't just a park. It's a space where nature, heritage, and people come together. Not in the past, but in the present. Once overgrown and forgotten, Sundar Nursery has been slowly and thoughtfully brought back to life. Today, it's not just a restored garden. It's a living ecosystem. Under the care of the Aga Khan Trust for Culture, and in collaboration with the Indian government, this site is now home to restored monuments, biodiversity zones, and a growing community of visitors who come not just to look, but to live.
I'm Ujjwala Menon. I'm a senior program officer with the Aga Khan Trust for Culture in India. I head the conservation program here, and so we're a large team of people who actually work on the built heritage in the Humayun's Tomb, Sundar Nursery and Nizamuddin area. So if you were here in 2007, you would not have seen the sort of integrated site that you're seeing here right now. Humayun's Tomb, for instance, it was designated a World Heritage Site in '93 on the condition that the gardens would be restored. And in '97, we got involved over here on the occasion of India's 50th year of independence to restore the gardens of Humayun's Tomb. When our work was complete, the government invited us to come back and come back. They invited the Aga Khan Trust to come back to India. And we felt our work in Delhi was incomplete, which is why we chose Humayun's Tomb as a project. And part of that has been integrating these sites. So Sundar Nursery, for instance, most people could not access this area. There was, you had cars, there was a lot of vehicular movement. And a lot of the areas were also dumping waste areas. And so there's been a great transformation in terms of what the site really is today. And the prime objective has really been to have this large green space available to the residents of Delhi.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi once shared during a visit here, projects like these reflect how public spaces, when restored with care, can reconnect people to their heritage and nature.
आज मैं सुंदर नर्सरी आया हूं तो हिज हाइनेस प्रिंस करीम आगा खान को भी याद आना मुझे बहुत स्वाभाविक है। सुंदर नर्सरी को सजाने संवारने में उनका जो योगदान है वो लाखों कला प्रेमियों के लिए वरदान बन गया है।
I'm a Joint Director General with the Archaeological Survey of India. Archaeological Survey of India is the biggest attached office in the Ministry of Culture, and this is a very grand old organization, specially mandated to look after a stipulated number of monuments and sites of archaeological importance, as well as do premier research work in various types of archaeological exploration, excavations, and building surveys and temple surveys. So we are mandated to do many such things.
Heritage conservation is often imagined as protecting walls, but here it's about opening gates. It's about creating a space where history breathes alongside everyday life.
My name is Sukriti. I am a conservation architect by training, and culture and heritage professional is what I would like to call myself. This is something that I have been doing for more than a decade now, and within this span of my career, I've tried to imbibe a lot of aspects of culture and heritage protection. I got this opportunity to work with Ministry of Finance, and I work with a department called Department of Public Enterprises. Since we are sitting in Sundar Nursery and we are in this beautiful neighborhood of Nizamuddin, this is one of the best examples that there is, and we've seen this particular area change drastically. Like 10-12 years back, it was an area which was a little deserted. The buildings were not that very well maintained. The park that we see today in its utmost glory, it didn't really exist, and all this has been possible because of the work that was taken under heritage conservation.
From decision makers to daily walkers, the transformation of Sundar Nursery shows what's possible when institutions and communities work together.
I think one of our main goals has really been to create a model project that can be replicated across India, because unlike a lot of other fields, conservation is still not being privatized, in the sense that it still falls under the government to do all of the work. But considering the range and scope of heritage in India, it is very important for us to build public-private partnerships very similar to what we have done here in Delhi and Hyderabad. And so the idea really is that this project should serve as a model that can be replicated across the country.
I should say that we, of course, like every other organization, we have people who are approaching us, we have various agencies who approach us and who wish to do work in partnership and collaboration with the Archaeological Survey of India. So it becomes really a difficult task for us to select with whom we should do it, because they are equally competent. 2007 to 2013, the entire area was conserved with the help of Aga Khan. We had a beautiful MOU with the Aga Khan Trust.
So the way the project really came about is there is a memorandum of understanding between the Archaeological Survey of India, the Central Public Works Department, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, and ourselves, which is the Aga Khan Trust for Culture and the Aga Khan Foundation. So obviously any MOU of this sort which has multiple government agencies, there is often a lot of coordination that is required, and especially to make sure that all of these objectives are being met. So one of the first things that we really did with the MOU was at the very outset define what the project would be and what the work would be, because that just made it much more easier in terms of facilitating discussions and also decision making. And any decision that's been taken has been signed off by the government partners. So it was really, their role was really facilitating the project, and where we came in was really implementing and raising funds for the project.
As a lot of times entities, for instance, since I work with the government, they might not be really specialized people to be able to understand the problems that revolve around culture and heritage. NGOs specifically, they have their own vision and mission, each and every NGO. So it becomes a little easier to work with NGOs because they would know what the problem is and adequately work towards it. With collaboration with international bodies, it gives you a lot of better purview on best practices that are happening outside. And like I said, we as people are very similar. Our problems are very similar all around the world. So in that sense, you get to learn a lot with each other. So this cross-cultural exchange that happens sort of benefits both the parties at ends. So, and yeah, collaboration is the key.
This isn't just an outcome of funding. It's an outcome of vision. A few minutes away stands Humayun's tomb, a grand symbol of Mughal heritage and one of Delhi's most iconic landmarks. Here too, restoration has not only preserved the architecture, it has supported those who work behind the scenes.
हमारा नाम राजकरण है। हम लोग यूपी से हैं। आके हमारी टोम पे माली का काम करते हैं। काम करते हुए हमें 2 साल हो गए। यहाँ पे मशीन चलाना, घास की, फूल पौधों में पानी लगाना, क्यारियों की गोड़ाई फुड़ाई करना, ये सब काम रहता है ज़्यादा करके। अक्सर बारिश में सबसे ज़्यादा मेहनत लगती है। अभी तो फिलहाल में कम मेहनत रहती है। अभी गर्मी पड़ती है ना, तो फूल पौधे घास वगैरह सभी सूखता है। पेमेंट वगैरह इनका तो उससे है, ठेकेदार की तरफ से है।
It's easy to admire the monument, but just behind each stone is a human story, one of care, labor, and connection.
Also, what we're trying to demonstrate over here, especially with the management of Sundar Nursery and the museum, is that culture is not a drain on the economy, but rather a source of, sustainable development, and that these sites can really sustain themselves. So that's what we've tried to achieve over here with our government partners.
These spaces don't just attract tourists, they serve the community. They provide jobs, support well-being, and offer peace in the middle of a noisy city. They also help local businesses thrive, from small cafes and vendors to heritage tour guides and artisans whose work finds new life in these restored surroundings.
I keep saying this on and off again. Culture is of the people, for the people, and by the people. We are the ones who sort of keep creating it and keep changing it, and we are the ones who need to preserve it.
Even though you're in a fast-paced world, a lot of people form a lot of connect with these buildings. So it is a connect to your past, but it is so much a part of your present that it almost becomes your identity.
For the locals of any place, any monument or any archaeological site should be sacrosanct. For them, it should be like they belong to the land where this monument stands. That should be the idea, and not that this monument is an encroachment on their land. It should be the other way around. Because we are new to that area, the monument is not.
As more voices join the conversation, from experts to everyday visitors, one thing becomes clear. Heritage is not just what we inherit. It's what we choose to preserve and pass on. This is not just about the past. This is about how we live with it, and how, in protecting our history, we shape a future that feels rooted, open, and alive.